This is Movies, a podcast about the act of cinema. With me today, wouldn't you know it, it is Hans in the middle of the day. How are you, sir? You look like you just woke up. Are you wiping the sleep crud out of your eyes? What are you doing?
A little bit, yeah. I watched the show and then took a little nap.
You watched
Yeah.
the show. You watched the show today
Yeah, I finished it.
when we arranged for this program 2 weeks ago.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
It was a bit of a. It wasn't as big of a struggle as the last show, but I'll save my thoughts.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm very excited to hear your thoughts because you're very critical of Nicholas Winding Refn. But you know who else is very critical of Nicholas Winding Refn is Jake Hanrahan, who's back with us for his annual appearance on the program. What's going on with your camera? You got Blair Witch thing going on.
1 sec.
Is this a cam of Skinamarink?
I don't know what the fuck happened here.
Did you end up watching it?
What the fuck?
Oh boy. Uh-oh.
I have like 10 things plugged in. Okay. Logitech. All right, I'm back.
All right, welcome back. There we go.
Sorry.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me all right? Because for some reason it won't pick up.
No, I can hear you just fine.
Yeah, but it's on the mic. It's on the Mac mic apparently.
I don't know. You're coming in pretty clear for me.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a thing with Zoom. I have no idea.
Zoom is just the worst, man.
Yeah. So
They're
we're
all
gonna
terrible.
be talking about Copenhagen Cowboy tonight. A little bit of Too Old to Die Young, and 2022 seems to be the year that you turned the corner on Nicholas Winding Refn.
Yeah, I mean, I liked him when I saw I saw Valhalla Rising and I saw Drive.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I started looking at some of his other stuff, and I was just like, ugh, you know what I mean? It just got a little bit much for me. I don't know. I just felt like some of the stuff, it was like, get on with it a little bit, you know?
Of course, yeah, I know. We've had the debate back and forth.
I got into it.
On Only God Forgives, and I thought if there's one thing for certain that Jake Hanrahan's going to dislike, it's going to be Too Old to Die Young. And then you text me one day and you're like, oh no, I actually think I'm kind of into this show. Yeah. I'm like, well, I don't know what the fuck. I can't even really agree with that. Like, I don't even. I like maybe 2 or 3 of those episodes max. And you know, we had to rewatch it for another guy's show where we were talking about that, and I couldn't sit through it. I couldn't do it. And Hans, did you watch?
Fast-forwarded a lot.
Did you watch any of it for that show or for this show?
I think I watched 3, maybe 4 episodes, and I did a lot of fast forwarded. Just a lot of. All right, okay, I get what they're doing here. Okay.
You could easily make a supercut of that show that is a good 3 hours of the 10-hour runtime. I think if you just cut out all the lingering stares, you could get.
Yeah, that really got annoying. Like, it was just so like unreal. You know what I mean? Like when like every single character takes on this strange affect where they're just like just staring at everybody forever. That got a bit annoying because no one in life communicates like that. If someone did that to you, you'd be like, what are you doing? You'd be like super like creeped out. So that shit got annoying. And also they're like I think like one character is like remotely likable. Like the main character is literally a pedophile.
Right, yeah.
It's like a pedophile crop cop, and you're with him for so long. It's like this guy is like when he died, I was like, okay, thank God, like finally, you know. But I don't know. There's something about I think everything on TV that I've seen recently is so fucking bad that I was like, well, at least it's different, you know.
Yeah, at least it looks nice.
Yeah, well, naturally.
Exactly, right.
That's a given for anything. If it doesn't look nice, then Refn has failed. I think we're coming out of like what people considered the golden age of television, where you had Breaking Bad and Sopranos and all these shows, and it seems like they've taken on. So there's 2 types of television now, and I made a note about this kind of recently, where if you see any network television show, it's usually on like its 29th season. The cast is all geriatric and they're tired and they look fucking depressed and miserable. And then streaming shows, you get 1 season. And then they flesh out the cast, and then they introduce a new show, or that's like the Netflix model. I don't know if Copenhagen Cowboy was a success. They haven't really talked about it. It's been very low key since it came out. I feel like it had like a big weekend push, and then nothing after that. So I would be
Nothing.
surprised if this gets renewed.
A model that you're not mentioning is the model of, if this show is successful and it's in a channel that doesn't have a lot of hits, we're going to create an entire universe around it by putting out spin-offs that nobody gives a fuck about.
Mm.
Like that Yellowstone, like that Walker Texas Ranger show that has a prequel show too. So it's just shows that I don't know who's watching them, but it seems like more people that they expect them watch them. So they create that TV universe around it so that they can just milk those fans, I guess, like they're doing with, like I said, Yellowstone,
Right.
for
I don't know
example.
who the
Yeah.
fuck watches Yellowstone. That's the most popular show. That's got like 20
Like,
million
not
viewers.
really.
It's all like the empty
Really?
towns in America culminating, I
Yeah.
think. I don't know. So Too Old to Die Young. There's I did go back to it after you had watched it, Jake, and said that you enjoyed it. But I didn't go back to the entire series. I just went back to like the episodes where Miles Teller's character's like on the run and then he winds up getting killed. And I was like, all right, I can see still. And when I watched it the first time, I did enjoy those episodes. These are good. I like Billy Baldwin's character. He's a weirdo. I like him in the earlier episodes, and then everything after that point, after he's murdered, Miles Teller's murdered. I can't endure it. I can't sit through it. It's too wacky.
Yeah.
It's too over the top for me. It's too.
I
What if?
got into the thing where you have to finish it, you know,
Mhm.
and I was like, I kind of have to finish this now
Sure.
to see where it goes. But I don't know. I again, like, I think it looked nice. The music was really fucking cool, and like I said, I think normally if there was something like interesting to watch that was new, I'd been like, this is shit. But everything I've seen recently, it's just so fucking boring, you know.
Mm.
Everything is the same. Like Netflix has really done a number on like making, you know, they're like, oh, here's a 30-minute idea, let's stretch it out for fucking 6 weeks. Oh God, it just drives me mad. So I watched it and I know it's long, but I was like, well, at least it's different, you know. It's
Right.
not the same shit over and over. I don't like series where it feels like it's like it has to be like a roller coaster, like whoa, something crazy every 2 fucking minutes. So it was quite nice to see something slow, but I don't know. Everyone else, I told a few people, I was like, watch this, it might be all right. And everyone's like, this is the slowest thing. This is fucking shit. Like, why have you recommended this to me? I was like, yeah, I guess it is pretty slow. But yeah, I don't know. I got into it a bit, but by the end, I was just like, ugh, like, get it off. And the ending was just, like, the whole series is kind of in the same realm. And in the last episode, it's like, yeah, this might as well be a different show, right? It's just bizarre, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was starting to set up what would be season 2, and I guess it was a big
Very
disaster
quickly, though.
for Amazon. They have no intentions of ever bringing it back. Yeah, and it's kind of the last push from Amazon Studios because in 2015 to about 2019, they decided, hey, we're going to start paying auteurs to do movies and TV shows for Amazon Studios, our original production company. And that's kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't think anything really made its money back as far as any of that goes. But I know they hired Park Chan Wook, they hired Spike Lee, they got all these random movies out in the theaters for a while, and then they had exclusive rights to them on streaming, and then they tried to bring that to their series department, and it didn't work, right? And now you can see that they just can't get like a sustainable hit either between like their Lord of the Rings or anything else that they're doing. That was supposed to be like the big thing that saves the company. It didn't, I guess. I don't know. I guess enough people checked it out that it's going to be renewed and they're going to like try and make it work, but it's not the hit that it's supposed to be. But they're not in Dutch quite like Netflix is at the moment. Netflix just doesn't really have anything. They're holding on to Stranger Things, and that's about it.
Mhm.
So,
I think the problem with Prime is though, like
mm,
Amazon, they don't. No one knows. Not like I mean, it's not established enough to then be at least not over here in Europe. No one goes like, oh, I mean, firstly, what is it even called? Amazon Prime TV. Like,
yeah.
no one's like, hey, have you watched Amazon Prime TV tonight? Like, it's firstly the name is fucking terrible, and like, you know what I mean? It's not. What is it? No, I don't even know what it is. I watch things on it, but I'm like, what is this? Is this It's not really it is a streaming service, but then half of it you have to buy, and then there's like 50 different channels within channels. It's like sign up for Stars TV to watch this one thing you want to fucking watch. Here's an extra £10 a year for like one series, you know. And then the thing I really noticed, which it sounds trivial, but I don't think it is, on the PS5 remote, it's got a button for Netflix, a button for Disney, a button for like YouTube, and then I think the other one is Spotify. There's no Prime TV button. That to me says like you're not making it. You're not up here. They didn't even put you on the remote, you know. So I think it's crazy they spent all that money on getting all these like cool people, and they don't even know what their brand is. Have you seen the logo for Prime TV? It makes me want to fucking kill myself. Like it's so bad, and it's like even their UI, their interface. I just think like whoever's in charge of this needs like pushing out the fucking window. Like it's that bad. It's offensive how bad it is, you know. It's like you have all this power and money and you can't even make it look cool, you know. So
it drives me
a lot of
it drives me up a fucking wall when I'm looking for a movie and they're like, "Yeah, Amazon's got the movie." And you got to pay $4.99 for the movie. It's like you don't have the movie. That's not on your fucking platform. You're a liar. So
there's also a lot of
now it's gone, you know.
Yeah,
there's a lot of restrictions too. I can't sign up for it right now because if I do, there's like, oh, here's 5 episodes of 5 different shows that you can watch for free. And if you want to watch more, you have to go to the States or get a VPN that we don't recognize, which is difficult because they recognize every single one of them. So it's just there's no point of subscribing.
So Copenhagen Cowboy premiered, I think it was January 5th of this year, and I had kind of forgotten about it. I was looking forward to, he was doing a movie called The Avenging Silence, which is supposed to be like a spy thriller with 2 screenwriters who have helmed like several 007 films. So I was like, all right, well, that could be interesting, is seeing what his take on that genre might be. According to somebody, I forget who told me this, that movie's apparently already shot. It's done. It's just kind of hanging out in post. So he decided to put this out, and there was no word about what this show was originally. I thought it was going to be like a reality show because it starred his daughter, right? He was posting Instagram videos of his daughter. So I was like, oh, Netflix gave him a reality show? No, that was incorrect on my behalf to assume that. He's just doing a Kevin Smith thing where he integrates his whole family into his filmmaking, I guess. I don't know.
I hate that so much.
He did you check out? You probably haven't checked out. He did a short film for, I think it was like Versace or somebody, called Touch of Crude. Prada. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just starred his wife and his daughter, and I think maybe his other daughter. And it's just them walking around.
I saw the soundtrack pop up on like Spotify, and I was gonna check it out, but I don't think I will now.
No, I don't think you would gain anything from it. Hans, you want to pull this up real quick? This was kind of ghastly to me. So I went to the Prada website to watch this, and I was like, all right, there's no YouTube version. You can't watch it anywhere else. And the first thing I'm hit with is that the video quality is equivalent to what Hans's webcam quality is right now. I was like, hold on, this is a reffin' short film, and you're blasting like 240p? What the fuck is this? And I thought, well, maybe it was my phone. Maybe it's my phone. No, and I go over to the computer. Same quality. This is unacceptable. So, Hans, if you just want to type in Prada reffin. I don't know what they were thinking, but this was like a little subsidiary thing to Copenhagen Cowboy, which has the same visual style. And Copenhagen Cowboy, the first thing that appealed to me was it's only 6 episodes, not 10 episodes like Too Old to Die Young was. The episodes were all cut off at like 50 minutes to 60 minutes. We're not getting into hour-and-a-half territory. So it seemed like there was a pretty strict timeline as far as that goes. Oh, here we go. That's not coming up, Hans. That's a gray blob. That's about the same, though.
No, they've got it fucking like blocked so you can't even watch it. Like, you can't even. This is something that they've done. They've like blocked it from being pirated by doing this. No one wants to fucking pirate your Prada film ref. I'm like, fuck.
Hans, did you pay for all these movies on your desktop here?
Oh. Yes.
Wow. How is The Fabelmans, Hans?
I haven't seen it yet. Hold on. What the fuck am I sharing? I thought I was sharing my browser.
No, you were sharing your desktop.
Oh, well.
I hope you didn't have anything incriminating there. Yeah,
It's
okay.
just
So you
I
can see
mean,
now.
other than illegal downloads
Yes,
for
other
movies
than the
now.
70 movies released in theaters right now. So obviously, we're going secondhand here. This is Hans screen sharing, but the level of quality on the film on the Prada website is literally on par with what you're seeing now, which is like looped through his computer, looped through the YouTube rendering system. Actually, doesn't look too bad at the moment. This is not working out for me. Okay, Hans, we can take this off before we get copyright hit or anything like that.
Fast forward or anything. Yeah.
Okay.
Controls.
So I've
To
had
me,
one
that
other.
like fucking, they just pay you to get your whole fucking family in a film. Like, he
Yeah.
must have made so much from that as well. Like, the most minimal effort. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like,
Um,
fucking hell.
as far as Copenhagen Cowboy goes, I've had one other friend who enjoyed Too Old to Die Young who watched Copenhagen Cowboy. He did not like Copenhagen Cowboy, which I thought was interesting. Jake, what was your general sentiment when you started watching and when you concluded the series, Copenhagen Cowboy?
At first, I really liked it. I actually thought, yeah, this is cool. Like, it's it's Refn, but it's not. It feels like someone at Netflix has actually had some balls and been like, no, you can't actually make something absurd because you think it's art. Like, this has to have a structure. You know what I mean? So I like that. It had a structure and it was cool and it worked. And I thought the start is really interesting when she's getting out the brothel, but then it just changes pace and it's like, oh, all of that, forget that now, which was pretty fucking annoying. That was like the most interesting part of it, I thought. And I was watching it, I realized that towards the end, it's like it's an adaptation of like, well, it's a modern take on a Serbian myth, which I think I was saying to you that like it's interesting because it came out on like Orthodox Christmas as well, and it's like an Orthodox Serbian myth thing about the lucky penny or whatever it is, the lucky key, I think it is. So I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Like, they've done something kind of cool there, but then it just doesn't, and then it just fizzles out into something else, And I was a bit like there's, I just felt like the middle plot felt like a side plot, but I don't know, it got messy for me. But I thought it was cool until the like fight scenes, and that was like really bad. Like, it was really bad. That was like, the attention to detail was atrocious. There was a scene where a woman is like just cuts up a body and then she has no blood on her, like, at all. And there's no way that was like, it's meaningful. It wasn't. It just, I think someone just forgot to put the blood on, whatever. Things like that drive me crazy. And then it gets like real supernatural, and that's when I was like, like I kind of, there was hints at it. It was like, is she lucky? Is she not lucky? And then it was like, oh no, actually she's like a genie. Like, I don't know what the fuck she was. That
Yeah.
I got bored with.
Between this
But I
show,
thought it was good.
yeah, between this show and then Only God Forgives, I'm starting to think that like Refn doesn't know how to stage a fight sequence, so he just kind of subverts everything you would expect, but he tries to make it like his artistic choice, but he just really doesn't know how to like execute it well. I don't know, Hans. I'm curious what your take is because you don't like Refn at all. You hate Refn. You constantly say he's a piece of shit. You wish he was dead or something. I don't know what you said last time.
No.
What did you think of this? I know. What did you think of this show?
I think my biggest issue with it was that it it didn't know, or it feels like it doesn't know if it wants to be like a crime show or a supernatural vampire slash monsters show. So when he tries to meet them in the middle, I don't think it works at all. I don't think he goes deep enough in either or the of the two. So then it just becomes am I watching a show about gangsters, or is it a show about magic beings, or is it a show about gangsters with magic beings? Like, it doesn't really know exactly what it goes for. And another issue, I mean, I see that there's what, like 7 screenwriters for this, which is good because he's usually pretty terrible at writing dialogue and things like that. But I feel like his style works a lot better when it's more contained. Give me a 2.5 hour movie, even something like Only God Forgives, which is long as fuck, but at least it's a thing that, has a beginning, middle, end. With this episodes, even though they're shorter than the other series, I feel like there's a lot that you can still cut and make a more interesting 2 hour, 2.5 hour movie instead of all the filler that doesn't do much. And I know that, his universe, because that's what the only way that you can call his movies. They exist in his universe because everything moves at his pace and nothing is normal, right? The way people act, the way people speak. So in his universe, I just feel like there's a lot of repetitiveness within the episodes where, I'm just gonna make the camera move for no reason. And oh, there's two people talking, but I'm gonna shoot it in such an interesting way the camera's just not gonna stop talking, so everyone's talking off camera. So it's very difficult to connect with anything that he's doing because of one, everyone acts in a way that people only act in the Refa universe, which is a lot of just this, and your dialogue is said like this, and there's no emotion because I'm very interesting and what I'm saying is so interesting, but I don't care at the same time. I have a problem connecting because of that. Because like no one feels like a person. And again, I know that, it's its own thing or whatever, but for me to care about this genie character or whatever, give me something, other than, oh, she's very quiet and then she fights and then she touches people and there's good luck. There's nothing that I can connect with. And I looking back into his films, I feel like that's one of the features of his productions, just like how disconnected everything feels and how it feels like you're having a look into this world that's not, the real world. But for 6 hours, it's difficult for me to pay attention and care by the end when you're not really giving me much to care about.
Do you feel all right? So I don't think that there was as much of that. Like we all deliver in the same tone. We're all going to like stare quietly for a period of time. I feel like the characters were more distinguished on this go around than they were with Too Old to Die Young, and maybe that's just because. I mean, I think it also comes to a benefit that he decided to go home to Denmark and work with actors he worked with when he was shooting Pusher. And not having them do the Ryan Gosling driver approach to their acting, like he's worked with them before. They're going to do their own thing. That's fine. I don't know. I see the complaints,
that's the problem, I think.
Which part?
For fuck's sake, what's happening here?
Oh no, it's my internet. It's my internet acting up. Nope, it's my internet doing that. Can you guys hear me and see me?
Yeah.
Still? Yeah. Okay.
Jake is frozen for me.
Uh-oh. Yeah, he's frozen too. What the fuck happened there? I froze for me, and then he froze. What just happened? Oh, no.
I think we lost him.
Oh, boy. Oh, this isn't great. This is not good. Well, Hans, how's your day going today? How was Actors? Did you watch Actors yet?
No. I started. It's not what I was expecting at all. I didn't realize they were just going to do or I don't know if this is what they do for the 90 minutes or 2 hours or however long it is. I didn't know it was just going to be them talking about movies that they've done before, being like, oh, I was trying to do this. And I feel
it's
like
very meta. It's the most meta movie.
Yeah. I saw that you liked it though. So I'm like, I'm going to give it a chance.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, when you watch a movie like that, and when you watch a movie that intends to be subversive and kind of not follow the same beats as a studio film, you have to kind of grade it with that in mind. I think here's the thing. I think it helps that I saw Assholes, and I saw that Assholes kind of fell apart in the last 25 minutes. And so this was like a better version of Assholes, in my opinion. So if I enjoyed aspects of Assholes, okay. I enjoyed aspects more of this Actors movie, and I think it sticks the landing a little bit better. It knows at least where it's going to go. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Let me tell you, from the 20 minutes that I watched, when he's actually dressed in like in like that see-through like whatever top he's wearing, and like it's funny. It's funny because and again, I haven't seen the whole thing, so I don't know if it's true, but he's just playing it for laughs. Like he's not even trying to be feminine or anything. It's just so I thought that was funny. I don't know if that's the purpose of it, but
I don't know either. I don't know what the fuck the purpose is. All right, it looks like we've got Jake back. Okay, I thought it was my internet because I've run into so many fucking issues lately. Because Spectrum doesn't like when I'm illegally downloading. They'll pause my internet for the day, make me say, "Yeah, I downloaded that."
Oh, maybe it's yours then. Yeah.
No, it was you. It was you fucked up
It
this
just
time.
went.
It was,
I was like,
yeah.
oh,
For whatever reason, my cam froze the
sorry.
same time
I don't
your
know what the
internet
fuck.
dumped out. Okay, so we were talking about
Oh, weird.
Copenhagen Cowboy. You were
Mm.
talking about the show sucks because of X reason or something that I said, and I was asking for which thing because I railed on a few different things.
You forget?
We were talking about pusher actors being in the cast and how not everyone was delivering the typical kind of monotone style that has become accustomed to everything in his late career, Refn's late career.
Yeah. That's what I hate though. I don't like that. Like everything's driver. Like it's like drive 2, drive 3. Like that's why I think when I'm watching things, it's like, is this drive? Like everyone had the drive. It worked well, and then it's like never ever do it again. Like surely it's just so unusual. It's no one on the planet. If you actually try, like you say you're on the bus or the train or like you talk to someone, just pretend that you're the guy from Drive. Everyone will be like, what is going on? Like this guy is unwell. Like it's and then but it's just fucking weird. Like and I agree with you, like Hans. I think like it does it. You can't build the character. It's just if everyone is the same character, it feels like no one is that character. You know what I mean? It just feels like someone was lazy. It doesn't feel like, oh, this is this funny universe. It's like, oh, he just couldn't be fucking bothered to give anyone a personality. So I was really glad when I forget which one, but I forget his name, but the main guy from Pusher, like the older guy, the Albanian, like
Zlatko Buric.
that guy, the tall one, tall as fuck. Him, when I saw him, I was like, ah, great, like that's good because he actually adds something interesting, like some like lively kind of like, you know what I mean? And I really think it needed that. But again, it just the lead character just, I mean, a woman like saves her life at one point, and she's like, "Can you come here?" And she's just like just doesn't, and just stands and stares at her. And it's like, why? Why would that ever? What message are you conveying? Other than like, I mean, to be honest, I watched it. I thought, what a rude little prick. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how are you gonna just stand there and like ignore someone? Fucking annoying, man. But again, I thought it was cool. I think the lighting he got dialed in a bit better this time.
Yeah.
Because a lot of his shit, it's like he's gone just piss neon over everything. I get it. I think neon's cool. Like, I get it. But when it's just like, there's a scene in Too Old to Die Young where they're in a barn and it's some nowhere place in the desert, and the inside of the barn has neon red lighting. It's like, no, like, come on. Like, I get it, you're setting the tone, but I feel like if that's what you got to do to set the tone every time, it's like a fucking art student. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a real director to me, And I think with the Copenhagen Cowboy, it was a lot better. It's a lot more dialed down. I think I really liked it actually. The look of it, the light use of light.
Yeah, I think it also helped that, he was dealing with another setting other than Los Angeles, because that's been the setting, I think, for the past couple of... It was Drive, it was Neon Demon, and I believe it was Too Old to Die Young was Los Angeles, right? So
yeah, it was, yeah.
He just kind of uses that as a fallback every single time. And here you've got a more distinct kind of spread out environment. You've got very... like less polished looking people in the cast. Like who's the so full disclosure, when I was watching this the very first time, I was also in the middle of filming, like a week of filming. So I was just kind of passively taking in everything. And then I was listening to like a podcast talk about the show, and they were talking about vampires. I was like, vampires? Where the fuck were the vampires in the series? I don't remember any vampires. And then I watched it again. I was like, oh, yeah, there were vampires the entire time. I didn't catch that. I was completely shut off. Yeah, I guess they're vampires.
Well,
They go out in the day and shit, but they're vampires. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. So that was something I didn't get.
Fuck off at this stage, isn't it? Like, go away, man. Like, see, that's annoying. I don't know.
So I had to do somebody else's show. Hans, want to help me with the title here, because it's a lengthy, long title of a podcast. You helped me out. You bailed me out.
I saw it on YouTube. I know which one you mean.
Yeah, Mutual
Social
Liberation
Liberation
Society.
Yeah,
I think
social...
no, not social liberation. whatever you're saying. And I cheated and I listened to the dub version because I have to work. I have to work on the state lottery 10 hours a day. So I was listening to the dub version on the TV and I was absorbing it much easier. And I was like, wow, this is like a completely different series than what I remember watching. And it is completely fantastical and vampire-esque, and she's whatever. And
Mutual Aberration Society.
I just said that. I remembered
You
it.
did?
So
Oh,
anyway.
right.
Yeah, I think he's got to get away from that. I think he has to go do Pusher 4 or something and then Drive 2. I think he actually has to go down the full Kevin Smith arc of just making sequels to your best movies 40 years later. I don't know.
I think he's got arrogant. I get that vibe. I mean, he's arrogant anyway. I've seen him in interviews. Like, it's absurd, some of the things that comes out of his mouth. But like he, honest to God, it's like, bro, no one knows who you are outside of like pretty niche circle of like enjoyers of film. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he makes films for the people that like pat him on the back now, which is really annoying. I don't feel like he makes films for like Drive is one of his most mainstream films, but it's great. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Like, he's not an art house guy. He's not the mainstream guy. It's like, what is he? But I feel like he's at the point where he's like, well, people don't get it. I'll just do what the fuck I'll just make it anyway. I guarantee he was given some kind of remit at Amazon and he just like, yeah, forget that. Let's just make this anyway. Like this. I don't know. It annoys me. I think I was starting to get into his stuff and I was like, you know what? I can kind of appreciate it. Even Neon Demon, I was like, it's kind of interesting. And then I saw a documentary about him, and Ryan Gosling said that on the set of Drive, he was wandering around. He was wandering around with a blanket wrapped around his dick and balls because he believed it kept the power in, and he was listening to like Joy Division crying on set. When I heard that, I was like, I'm out now. I'm out. Like,
wow.
Like, get over yourself. I really think.
Oh my God.
I get it, all that Hollywood shit. And there's actually a video of him. Like, he's literally crying with a fucking like blanket wrapped around his dick and balls. And like some other Gosling was like, yeah, some of the other actors, we just started doing it too. Like, what kind of this like disgusting lunatic asylum is Hollywood? You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
And I kind of thought like he's just one of them guys now. You know what I mean? And it's like he's trying to act like this different guy. He's all he's like, nah, man, you're just one of them guys. He always wants to be like one of them guys, but also a little bit of an outsider. You know what I mean? It's like, get over yourself. I just get that vibe a lot from him now. I wish I hadn't watched that because every time I watch some of his stuff, and Drive is one of my favorite films, and now I'm just knowing that the director had a fucking blanket wrapped around his dick and balls. Like, oh God, I just can't handle it, man. He was saying it's keeping in his chi. Oh,
what's that? What is that? That Fredkin and interview where he says that Only God Forgives is one of the greatest movies ever.
Oh, William Friedkin. Yeah, his interview with William Friedkin
I saw
is great.
that,
yeah, I posted a clip to that to Instagram ages ago. That's so rich with quotes from both of them. Definitely worth checking out for anyone who hasn't seen it. Yeah. What was I going to say? So, yeah, he does wear a dress on the set of everything he does for that exact reason. Have you ever?
He does it with everything.
He does. He's been doing it, I guess, since he moved to the U.S. and started directing Hollywood films. So it is a Hollywood thing. Have you ever seen the other documentary on him? I know you're talking about My Life, directed by Nicholas Winding Refn, which his wife directed. Have you ever seen Gambler? That's the first one.
No.
That one's much better.
Wait, is that the one where he's in Copenhagen?
Yes.
Yeah, I did see that. And they interview his parents and shit.
Yes, because he puts his family and production company in severe debt because he fucked up and got too indulgent with Fear X, and it didn't make any money back. That doc, I think, is much more interesting.
Is Fear X good?
Well, I mean, define good. How do you look at? Well, first of all, how do you look at a good Nicholas Winding Refn film? It's kind of like him doing David Lynch to the most David Lynch extreme, which sounds kind of obnoxious, but it's not bad. It's a murder mystery done through the perspective of a guy who is like He's a security guard at a shopping mall, and he just reviews tapes trying to find the guy who killed his wife because she went missing at
That's
the mall.
cool.
It's a cool concept, um, but it's a little frustrating, and it veers off in a different way. Like, you wind up knowing who the killer is and all this and that, but the way that he handles the second half of the movie, I don't know if it's the most favorable way to the narrative. So I don't know. I would say it's worth checking out. I mean, it's not as indulgent or as long as anything that he's done as of late. Also, Hans, you said Only God Forgives is so fucking long. It's 90 minutes. It's a 90-minute movie, Only God Forgives.
Just feels long, I guess.
That's the standard runtime for any film.
I will say though, as much as I do find him really annoying, and I mean I'm being super, I mean I'm negative all the time, but
You should
as
fight him.
much
You
as,
should
like,
do
I'm
celebrity
kind of finding
boxing against Refn.
Did you see that footage of him training?
No, I don't think I
Fucking
did.
hell, man.
What?
There's like footage of like, so he's doing the, I don't know why I saw on YouTube, but he's like, yeah, I wanna include like Thai boxing in Only God Forgives. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I've been doing Thai boxing since I was young, so I was like, this could be cool. And he doesn't really want to do it. He doesn't give a fuck. He just goes to one Thai camp, watches them for like 5 minutes, and then some trainer gets him to like punch in the air and like this like fucking like aircon room. It's so funny. His like soft body just like not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's just like, bro, you should not let you, if you knew that was gonna be in this, you should have had at least 6-7 weeks just to look slightly okay. You know what I mean?
He seems like he's got the worst form for fighting. He's just kind of long and soft.
Chin, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
No shoulders.
Hans,
no
you want to take a look and see if that
part?
clip's on YouTube or something? I would be very curious to see how his form is when throwing punches.
But anyway, sorry, I was saying, like, as much as I'm negative about it, I'll be honest, everything he does, I want to watch it. You know what I mean? Every new thing he does, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll watch that one. It's almost like I just want something as good as Drive again, because I think Drive is just near perfect, man. I love that film. I think it's so fucking good, you know.
What do you think it is that made that movie stick out as opposed to everything else he's done? I mean, he obviously decided to go a second round with Ryan Gosling on a more measured budget with Only God Forgives, and that's obviously a very different tonally different film than what that is. And he wrote the script to that. He didn't write the script to Drive. What do you think it was that Drive had that everything else is just lacking?
I think it's a little bit more grounded. Every time he wants to veer off into like, oh, this is a little bit crazy. Oh, look, I'm experimental. It's like he does, but it's brought back quite quick. You know what I mean? It's enough to make it interesting. I think it's obviously more mainstream, but I don't think there's anything really wrong with that. I hate this idea of people just making things for this elite class of people that, oh yeah, we get it. It's just I find that very arrogant. If you make something, you want as many people as possible to get something from it. You shouldn't make and create something to just be like, yeah, just this little demographic is gonna like it. You know, I think that's weird. I think it's just very arrogant. I think, and it's like the kind of thing of like I remember one time when I was really young and I was like coming up learning to be like a reporter and writing and whatever, and I read this thing by J.D. Salinger, the guy that wrote
Catcher in the Rye.
Catcher in the Rye. Yeah, and he got to a point in his career where he would write a whole book and be like, no one deserves this. And he got so wrapped up in himself that he would just not release his writing. And it's like, come on, man. Like, no one's that much of an artist that they have to, you know, limit themselves. So I think with Drive, it felt like it was unleashed a little bit more. You know, I feel like it was less arrogant. But I think it was like it was a very straightforward script. The story was there, but it employed all these like strange elements. And I think because Drive, he hasn't got a name, has he? But the driver, like, I think that again, I fucking hate films where a lead character doesn't have a name. Oh, that drives me mad. But anyway, the driver, he is that kind of monotone, shy, but like he's a cool guy. But it works as everyone else kind of gravitates around him. You know what I'm saying? With different attitudes and different characters. Whereas when you, like I said earlier, when you make everybody the guy from Drive, it just feels like, you know, it feels like The Sims without the personality things put up. It just doesn't work. It's like, oh. could this guy not be bothered to write a character? I felt like that's what it feels. I'm like, could he not be bothered? Like, did he just? Is it more? It's like fashion over function. Like Too Old to Die Young was the fashion over function for me. You know, it was too. It looked cool. It sounded cool, but then the core of it is like, where is it? You know.
Yeah, I think
Well, he
he's one of
also
these guys who probably is best incorporated into something that is already going to exist on its own, and he can bring his style and his flair to it and fill the mold essentially, as opposed to building the thing from scratch. That seems to be where you have
Mm.
most of the flaws. Sorry, Hans, I cut you off there.
yeah, because to go with Jake's point, I feel like he also picks very interesting looking, at least, actors. Even
Yes.
even when he
Yes.
goes
Yeah.
to Denmark, or look at people that have a lot of personality with just their face, but then they don't do
Mm.
much. So then it's like, oh, I want something from this character, and you're not giving it to me. It's more like for the stills that they look cool or interesting, and then they don't really say or do anything interesting.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I know everything. To be honest, like even this Copenhagen Cowboy, if you see a still, which I did first, of the lead character, I don't even remember her name, of the lead character, and it's like all lit and there's like red and everything. You don't get much more from her from watching it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? You really don't. It's like, yeah, that's she's moody. That's it. We don't see any vulnerability. There's just no, I don't know. Yeah, it's exactly that. It's like it's made for style, but not for like, I don't know. It sounds corny, but I want to like feel something for the character. You know what I mean? It's I don't know.
Well, it's like that Predator, like last Predator movie where autism is a superpower. It feels like this
Really, is
girl,
that
like
what it is?
yeah, one of the kids, I think the kid has autism, and then he's able to decipher the helmet or whatever because
Uh,
only someone with autism is able to do that. So that's why they saved the day by using his autism powers, pretty much. She feels
yeah,
like she feels like there's something going on with her too, but her thing is she's got powers. So then it's like I don't like, is that
uh,
her whole personality? Her thing is like she's a little strange where she doesn't emote or do anything or just fights with a straight face. Or even when she looks like she should be in pain, she doesn't kind of show that she's in pain. So it's difficult to figure out what her purpose even is, other than I'm gonna make people feel better, I guess, which is not a very interesting premise for a character,
and
really.
she does. She has that thing where like 1 minute she's really tough, and then she fucks everybody up, and then the next minute she gets like put into a car or something, gets dragged away. It's
Yeah.
like what? Like, I thought you were a superhero. Like now you're not. Like I don't know. It throws me off, man. Look how he's frozen.
I think Refn might have deleted every video of him fighting off the internet or
Bro,
gotten it
I
taken down because I
saw it,
Good,
can't
man.
find it.
good.
You
I
gotta
can
find it.
find I found some of him like interviewing people from Bangkok wearing a towel over his instead like pants, I guess. I don't know, like a blanket wrapped on his
It's
belly, and
it's
he's
it's that. I think it's that one.
but it's too short. Like it doesn't show any of his fighting. It just shows like him talking to Ryan Gosling, and then they kind of show him, but there's no I'm trying to find his no shoulders throwing a punch would be funny. Did
I
we lose
think
him?
he's frozen. He's
Oh,
frozen. Look at it. I don't know if you can see
yeah.
how his
No, I'm
screen
still.
looks.
Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me at all? I don't think they can hear
That
me.
is so good, bro. he looks he looks like he's from like Looney Tunes.
Yeah, yeah,
Fucking
yeah, yeah,
hell.
yeah. It's an old Chaplin.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send.
You're like, whoa.
Well, the thing is that he's also
Fuck.
the one recording it, so I don't know if he's getting any of
Oh
this.
yeah, he said
Oh, he
I'm still
is.
recording you both fine. I'll come back in a sec. Okay, that's good. I gotta find this
Um,
fucking guy, man. Where is he? It's one I watched. So to be honest, I don't know why he's doing it, but it's like something to do with yeah, it's something to do with Only God Forgives, and he's like, yeah, I wanted to. That's what annoyed me. He includes the Thai boxing part of it, and it's like okay, like this is quite cool, like this is interesting. It's it's like oh, he's got this gym, and they're kind of dealing drugs through there, and that's like fucking typical Westerners, scumbag, pedophiles, like very real in Thailand. And then, oh,
Yeah.
he's back. And then,
All right,
like
wonderful.
within 20 minutes, they're just like, yeah, forget that. Like, it doesn't mean it
Yeah.
does it. You know what I mean? That really annoyed me. I was like, maybe it's just because I like Thai boxing and shit, but I thought that could have made for a really interesting kind of center point, because even in with Thai boxing, there's like a really interesting history behind it. It's like the human weapon, like 8-point fight, and it dates back like 2,000 years, whatever the fuck. And in Thailand, if you're poor, the young boys, they like push them into Thai boxing, like they're 8 years old and they have like full contact fights and they make money from it and people bet on it. So I thought, oh, that could be a really interesting thing. But then it's like, I thought that's what it was going to be the first time. Like, this is going to be interesting. And then it just, within 20 minutes, it's like, this guy wants to fuck his mum. Like, there's like the same fucking thing guys, in all his films. Like, I was like, oh, okay, another one where he wants to fuck his own mum. Like, okay.
Was there an incest element in Copenhagen Cowboy? Because I think that might have went over my. There seems to have been. So there definitely was the father wanting to fuck the daughter and too old to die young. What is it in Copenhagen?
So in Too Old to Die Young, it's the fucking Jesus, right? He gets fucked by his own mum, and then
Oh,
we don't
that's
see
right.
that.
Yeah.
We tells his wife, and then she has to like pretend to be his mom, which is just fucking weird and depressing. And then in Only God Forgives, he wants to, like, he clearly wants to fuck his
That's
mom.
the
I think his mom
most
fucks him.
overt.
That's kind of like what's implied, right? That his mom has fucked him, like. And then in Copenhagen Cowboy, that weird serial killer guy, there's just a point where his mom just comes in and like takes off her top.
Oh,
And he's like,
Oh
"Hmm."
yeah.
Like, oh, fuck my mom. Like, it's so strange, bro. And then when I watched this documentary about Nicholas Winding Refn, and his mum was like super nice and like really, you could just tell she was like a good mother. He clearly got whatever he wanted. And I thought, man, did he fuck his mom? Is that what he's trying to tell everybody? Like,
I don't know.
I hope
There's
not.
certainly that element of telling on yourself that seems to be a component to many auteurs, but who knows? I mean, I don't think it's worth reading into, since I like Refn. I don't want to read too much into that. Yeah, I don't know. It seems to be a recurring thing. Here's the other thing too that I did not catch immediately until my second watch is like the whole sperm infertility aspect of the show. A lot of it just went over my head on that first viewing. Is Fabio talking about the cultural importance of his sperm to that Chinese woman, and that's just like the family MO is we're gonna like procreate as much as possible. I guess I don't know. Hans, what did you think about that?
Been weird.
I didn't catch that at all.
You didn't catch that? You just watched it. What the fuck do you mean you
know.
didn't catch that? It's all in the episodes you watched. That Jake, what you were gonna say something?
No, I didn't catch it either. But what I was going to say, there's another weird thing I saw Refn saying in like one of these documentaries I watched, where I can't remember verbatim, but he's like, I like some dark things, and it's like, I don't know, it's he's got something going on. Like, he's like, I like some dark things that you can't really express in, normal society, and I put them in my film. And I was thinking, like, please don't be like a pedo.
Maybe he just means like
I don't
purple
think...
and navy blue Legos or something. I don't know. Maybe he meant literal
true,
dark things.
Let's think of the most.
This...
Let's think of the most innocent thing it could be, right? Because you like him.
No, I don't think it was that. But, you got to watch your words if you make them kind of films. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. By any chance, do you enjoy Lars von Trier at all? That's his nemesis. His father worked as like... No, they hate each other. They hate each other's guts.
Really? They're both from Denmark, right?
Mm-hmm. So Refn's father worked...
I saw Nymphomaniac.
Yeah, he worked for Lars as an assistant editor or something. So he knew Lars growing up. Lars was maybe like 10, 15 years older than him. And just hates him, calls him a Nazi and a misogynist and all this like SJW stuff before it was like a thing. Because Nymphomaniac and him saying, what did Lars say, Hans, about Hitler? What was the exact quote? Let's put it in your voice, your German voice.
Oh, what was it? Let me look for it and I'll read it up.
I don't know. He thought...
I remember that. Yeah, there was some controversy. Yeah.
He got banned from Cannes, I believe. Over...
Oh, he says he understands him.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, he said, I understand Hitler. And they said, all right, you're not allowed here
Clip
anymore.
that. Clip that.
Kirsten Dunst looked mortified at the press conference. And then by the time he does Nymphomaniac, he's wearing a shirt that says Persona non grata, and Shia LaBeouf has a bag
Oh,
over
oh,
his head. What a
I read
great
the whole.
time for film.
I read the
Yeah.
full quote. It says he did some wrong things, absolutely, but I can see him sitting there in his bunker at the end. I sympathize with him, yes, a little bit.
It's a great,
Fucking
great.
hell. But this
Uh,
is a grown man that got cunts tattooed on his fingers. Like,
yeah.
you can't take him serious. Like, he's a
Yeah,
No.
fucking
exactly.
moron.
Well, he
Yeah.
had a
I don't know about his
series.
films, though. I don't know about his films. I watched Nymphomaniac, and it just felt gross. Not good. It was like every scene I thought, you stink. Everyone in that film
Yeah.
stinks. It was like cold, stinking sex, like with like gross people that are like, I've encountered people like that in London where it's like they come into work and they fucking stink, and they're like,
Yeah.
that's their thing. Their thing is that they wear like everything they wear, they look cold. You know what I mean? Like it's the way that like fucking Dasha from like Red Scare dresses now. That like
Yeah.
trad, like milkmaid looking shit. It's like that shit makes me just feel cold and it's sticky. Like I put my hand in
Yeah.
something. Yeah, you know what I mean? That's what Nymphomaniac made me feel like. So I didn't really get it. I thought, the concept sounded cool, but then I watched it, I was like, oh, none of this is attractive. Maybe that's the point though. I don't know. I
I
was
think.
pretty young. I was like 18. I thought I was gonna watch porn or something, and I was like, "What is
Yeah,
this?"
yeah.
But I don't know. It was kind of weird.
I think that's kind of the point to a degree anyway, where they're trying to like make you feel icky about it. Yeah, I don't
Was
know. I
yeah.
enjoyed Nymphomaniac, the director's cut especially. But Lars had a series come out this year that premiered around the same time as Copenhagen Cowboy. I thought it was interesting how it seems like these auteurs who are especially popular in like the last decade seem more interested in doing scripted television programming now as opposed to films. Park Chan-wook is another guy. He just did Little Drummer. He's working on an HBO show with Robert Downey Jr. about the
Mm.
Vietnam War called The Sympathizer, which could be interesting. And Lars, I think, is going to be dead within the next year or two. That was like his swan song, his coda for his career.
He's ill.
Yeah, he's got Parkinson's or something.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Is he good? Like I have heard he's like my. I have a friend that really likes him. I just never got a chance to check him out. Like I know he's a bit weird. Like is he actually good? Like he makes good shit.
Yeah, I think so, but you have to develop
Yeah.
kind of like Revan, you have to develop a taste
Mhm.
for his work. And I
Yeah.
think he's a funnier
I'll check some
director
out. I'll check some
than Refn. I
Yeah.
thought his series he did, The Kingdom Exodus, was surprisingly very funny.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect that. I hadn't even watched like the first two versions of that series because it's kind of his version of Twin Peaks. He decided to do his Twin Peaks: The
Oh, okay.
Return, and it's
Mm,
about like
mm.
a weird hospital that's kind of I don't know, Hans, how would you put it? What is it? Not haunted, but it's like multi-dimensional. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It deals with like different realities, and then this hospital is in like the middle of, I guess, a dimensional what rift you can call it, I guess, where if you go into some rooms, you end up in like a different dimension where there's a gigantic head and there's like bleach fields or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's very weird like that where there's two stories going on at the same time, and the second story it deals with like a different dimension, like a different realm that most people are not
Mm.
aware even exists there.
I'll
But
check it
it's
out, man. I
but it
love
is
stuff like that. I love Twin Peaks is great. Like I think that's like Twin Peaks is like the first and second series, like one of my favorite things ever. The Return, I just was like, why? I
You
just
should
what
go
the hell is
honestly, if you enjoyed Too Old to Die Young enough, you should go back to The Return. You might have a better opinion of it.
Do you know what? A friend of mine said this. I was talking to her about it, and she was like, "Oh my God, you need to rewatch it." Because to be honest, I watched it when it came out, and I wanted it to be like the first two series. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So maybe I should go back to it, but it just doesn't feel like Twin Peaks. It's like,
No.
what the fuck is?
It's a
You
fuck
know,
you in a way to the Twin Peaks audience who just wanted it to continue. The whole But
why
here's the
do
thing.
that?
I don't know. I felt that way for like the first 10 episodes, and then I was like, you know what? I think I actually kind of like Dougie. I think I might like Dougie as much as I like Coop now. I was sad to see Dougie go at
Really?
the end once he comes back and is
Fuck.
like Coop full time.
I
Yeah, I
gotta
don't
check
know.
it out.
I think I've definitely warmed to Twin Peaks: The Return. Since finishing it the first time and then going back and watching it, I think it's great. I think it might be one of the best things. It might be the best thing David Lynch has done, in my opinion. Yeah,
Really?
I think
Fuck, I
so.
gotta check it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not crazy on his work though. Like I love Twin Peaks, but I think Mark Frost was a big part of that actually. But actually I love Eraserhead. I think Eraserhead's really good, and I like Blue Velvet. But the rest of it, I watched some of his other stuff, and I was a bit like, yeah. I
You know
got
what
a
I
similar
just?
thing that I get from Refn. It's
Mhm.
like I call it like wanking in front of the mirror. You know, I feel like a lot of his stuff is like it's like literally watching himself. He's like masturbating over the vision of himself masturbating. You know what I mean? I
Sure.
find I get that vibe from a lot of it, which is really annoying.
So, all right, what is it about then the first two Twin Peaks that you feel you enjoyed? Is it like the soap opera elements of it? Is it the emotional drama? Because I enjoyed that part, and I checked out a show recently called Northern Exposure, which is like Twin Peaks without the mystery. It's just people living in a small town, and I bought on eBay 6 seasons of Northern Exposure, having only seen a couple of episodes of it. So that's what my television experience is going to be. Look at that, nice wholesome '90s, people smiling, having fun in Alaska. That's what I
You're
enjoyed.
promoting this like you got shares in it. What's going
I,
on?
I believe me, I
Is that
wish.
good?
I wish I was. Well, it's all right. Listen, it's fine.
Twin
Uh,
Peaks. I don't know. I just love the at first the mystery of it is like very very cool, and then they very slowly introduce the supernatural elements. You know what I
mhm.
mean? Like it's very smart. I think the first series especially, it's still very grounded in reality, and then I don't know, man. And there's this kind of you realize quickly that okay, this isn't meant to be like gritty. It's not meant to be serious, but it is serious. But it's also like everything feels a little bit like there's something eerie about it. It's just unnerving. You know, it feels like any character at any point could turn around and look down the camera and be like, I see you, Jake. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean? Like they feel very fucking creepy. Like, and I think he really builds the eeriness in a really good way. And I like everyone in that is such a great actor, I think. Because they act at first, I remember when I first ever got into it, I was like really young. I was like 21, didn't even know who David Lynch was, didn't know what it was, just saw it on like Sky. I was like, fuck it, put this on. And I was like, well, this is the weirdest acting. Like, this isn't real. And then when I kind of clocked, I was like, okay, it's not meant to feel real. It's meant to be surreal. You know what I mean? And then
mhm.
I don't know, I just loved it. And it really scratches. I love like anything eerie, you know, like the eeriness. Like, and I always, I hate, you know, it's like, you know, like I always use Cloverfield as a good example. I think as soon as they actually showed the monster, it was over for me. I have no interest in it anymore. I love that thing when you don't quite know, and you never have to know why it is eerie. What is it? It's once you find the mystery, it's never as interesting as what it could be. You know what I mean? And I think Twin
Absolutely.
Peaks did that really well. You know, they held on to it forever really well. And I was watching it. I actually rewatched it around at the moment, and I kind of never thought about it at first, but it's like, oh, is Leland like is the or Bob rather is Bob like a kind of um like the personification of like the evil within men, or not men as men, I mean the evil within like humans, you know what I mean? And then as soon as I thought that, they literally address it in the show. One of the like Harry goes like, oh, is Bob maybe the personification of evil that all men and women have inside them? And then when I realized that, I was like, okay, that's actually not what it's meant to be, because he's made that obvious. Do you know what I mean? And I was like,
Mhm.
that's really cool. I like that he's kind of gone, I know you were thinking that, but fucking think again. You know what I mean? I really like that about it. It's very open, I think.
How did you feel about Twin Peaks once they actually solved the mystery and they didn't really know where to go next? And it was just like it was Coop versus what was his name? Fucking, I gotta look this guy up. He's got a very distinct name,
Yeah,
but
I
he
know
had
what you
like a
mean. The
new
FBI
villain.
guy.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think they really should have. They should have maybe not have done that. Like, there's that weird story arc where oh god, I can't remember his name. The guy with a huge forehead. He's so annoying. Him and fucking oh my god, I forgot the name. They're so boring and annoying. The two friends of Laura Palmer. Anyway,
oh yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
like there's a side plot where he he has a relation. He has like an affair with an older woman. She's a good actress. She just died recently. It's quite sad. But I read a thing where even the screenwriters were like, we're really sorry to the viewers for doing that. Like everyone hates it, you know, and it's really bad. Yeah, but I don't know. I liked. I think they kept with the eeriness of it. What I did like is they go to the Black Lodge a little bit more. You know, they
Mm.
open that up a bit more. It becomes more than just a dream, which I thought was interesting, but it also is weird. You know.
Yeah, I enjoy the fact that season two decides to do something completely different. I guess because they fired David Lynch or he quit. So you have the Wyndham Earl character. That's the character I was thinking of,
Yeah, I
who
forgot about
becomes
that. Yeah.
the antagonist. And then David Lynch comes back at the very end and does like the darkest episode in television history. After you've gotten like
Yeah.
essentially like a pretty freewheeling kind of fun, more lighthearted version of Twin Peaks, you come back and it's completely dark and it sets up the return and he kills off Wyndham Earl almost like immediately. He's like, all right, fuck the past 15 episodes. We're getting back to real Twin Peaks now.
Yeah.
And you get into that finale. What did you think about Fire Walk with Me? People were not fond of Fire Walk with Me when it came out. And now it's like the film bro, Twitter film guy, letterboxed fan favorite pick, Fire Walk with Me.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
The
that's put me
Halloween
off.
3 is the best of the franchise one.
Oh,
Take,
them guy. I
you
know
know?
what kind of guys you mean. Yeah. Yeah, it's like that you can't just enjoy things. You have to it has to become your personality.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's people ruin things like that. It's so annoying. But no, I liked it. It was fine. I remember watching it when I was young, like right after Twin Peaks, and it's a real change of pace. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's like fucking hell. What the hell was that? There's too much screaming in it. I just remember it just like fucking screaming every minute. Like, oh god, drove me mad, man. That's why I can't watch Attack on Titan, that anime, like every second, it's just, like screaming. Like I hate anything with too much screaming, and it drives me mad. So yeah, I just remember the screaming a lot. But I thought it was, I like the concept of it. I think it's pretty fucking cool. But I don't know, man. It was one of the ones where I was like, did we need it? I don't know if we did. Do you know what I mean? It was,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care either way. I have a
I
cool
think it
poster.
was interesting that he decided to veer off from his own like established history a bit with the Leland character, and he kind of paints the Leland character to be always sinister. And see, here's the thing too. It'll come back to Refn with incest, which is that I don't know if that's necessarily a sincere interest because he loves David Lynch so much. He might have just seen Twin Peaks and Fire Walk with Me and been like, oh wow, the incest. I'll make that my thing. That's gonna be my thing now.
Yeah.
Incest. That's what's cool.
Wow.
That's what the kids love is incest, and that's all permeating each of his
Is that a
films
big
now.
thing?
I don't know.
Is that a big David Lynch thing?
Well, if you ask the midget from Twin Peaks, he says yes. He says some damning things about David Lynch, but he's also
Really?
deeply mentally ill. Yes, he is. That's why he did
Yeah.
not come back for the return. That's why he was replaced with like a
Oh.
clay plant. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He-
Fucking hell.
he gets
That's
a clay
real
plant.
Fuck you to him, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
who would think to do that other than David Lynch? I enjoy his weather
You know what
reports.
I would love to see? Yeah. I was thinking about this the other day. I do this, man. I'm such a weirdo. I have this thing in my head where I'm like, it'd be so cool if this director did a film about this, but like real life events. And I was thinking, could you imagine a David Lynch film about the Epstein scandal? It would be. I just think he would make it so good. You know what I mean?
How would he even approach that? How do you approach that?
I don't know.
You know,
You will make him the
Well, you can
hero
make
of the
kind
story.
Huh?
Epstein's just
No.
a little weird. But...
yes, no, it was Bob
Yeah,
inside
like
Epstein
that.
the whole time.
But like, you know, like all the weird, like esoteric shit, the fucking temple. You know, like Epstein had that temple, which CNN will tell you was just for pianos. Like, yeah, sure. He had a
Is that what they
temple, he had
said?
all these like fucking. That's what they said. Like, yeah, it was his piano room. Really? It
Oh.
was his piano room. Why did he make it so
It's
fucking
big
strange?
Liberace fan.
There's like the son of Ra statue was on the fucking thing. Like it's all this Egyptian stuff. That guy was into the occult big time, like into weird esoteric shit. And I don't know. I think he would do a good job of like introduce. You know, like you could bring Bill Gates on the plane as like this wacky like PC nerd. But then when you get to it, you end up seeing like this. I think what he would do is or in my head, the David Lynch I'm thinking, he'd make it all kind of like. Here's this like wacky nerd, here's this banker, here's this silly guy. They're all like on the plane, but then make the ending just the darkest fucking shit ever. Because that's what you need to do. Because the fucking news at large is still just like, well, there's like 50 people that are really fucking famous still that were on his plane and in his books. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Let's just put him back on. Bill Gates is like somehow just allowed to be back in the news.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like in a normal world, like anywhere he goes, you'd be like, what the fuck were you doing on that plane? Like, why were you on it so much? Why were you going to these like weird science retreats with him? You know, I don't know. I think David Lynch would do like a version of that where he kind of highlights the absurdity of the way it is now, but then like really bringing back like the darkness of it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think the one that should do that is Woody Allen playing in FC himself.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like a needy, just nervous guy. And then...
you couldn't do that, man. You couldn't have any kids on set, you know.
I don't know. I think
would
the
love to
biggest
see a film
injustice.
about that shit, though.
I think the biggest injustice is that after all that, they still greenlit Rush Hour 4.
Did they?
Yes, they
Fucking
did.
hell,
Well,
yeah, he was on that plane with Bill Clinton. He was hanging out on the pedophile plane with Bill Clinton. And then you get a guy who gets like cancelled off of the internet for saying something 50 years ago on Twitter. Like, it's like, no, you can go and fucking be on a pedophile's plane. That's fine. Like, fucking hell, man. I just been reading a load of books on this Epstein. I'm obsessed with this, actually. I never actually done any work on it. I'm just obsessed with it. And each book you read, I make sure not to read the like stupid fucking conspiracy theory ones, you know, it just muddies the water. Like if you read the book that the literal lawyer, Brett Edwards, he's the guy that kind of got Epstein actually finally in jail and shit. It's like even he is like, he says like with proof, he's like, yeah, the FBI literally like intervened to save him. Like, and it's like the fucking lawyer, he's not a conspiracy guy. Like he's very straight up and down, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And I'm just reading it every time I read this shit, and I just think, fucking, how is that happened? You know, how is that just? It's like, well, Ghislaine's in prison, that's fine. It's like, oh, it was just her, was it? Like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Well, do you think there's
too.
validity to him being an asset for either the U.S. government or Mossad, or I feel like that's got to be the case. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, your average person who hasn't looked into it will be like, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Even the lawyer, Brett Edwards, is like, kind of looks like that. You know what I mean? He says in the book, he's like, there's just no other reason that he would be protected like this. There's something going on, you know? And he has a story about... there was a guy, there was a bank manager, and it's like, I don't know, like JP Morgan Chase or whatever, like a massive bank. And there's a story that the bodyguard tells in the book, Epstein's former bodyguard, where like Epstein just bursts into the fucking office, like no invite, kicks the fucking door in, like smashes down on the table. He's like, I told you to wire 2 million to Israel. Why isn't it there? And he's like, we're doing it. And apparently Epstein's like, fucking get it done. It's like, leaves, you know what I mean? It's like, bro, what the fuck is going on? Like, how does anyone... No matter how rich you are, you can't do shit like that. You know what I mean? That's something else, you know. So I don't know. I think so. I mean, if you look at the FBI, literally, they did something where it's kind of technically illegal because they didn't tell the defendants. They intervened with a case and like tried it in secret and just got him the best deal ever. This is before he got fully caught. He actually, when he was meant to be in prison before, you know, you got like a little cushy prison,
right?
Where, well, he was on house arrest. Yeah. And the FBI like literally got involved and helped him do it, and then got him off, and they would never gave an answer why, you know. So something's going on, but unfortunately, you get people that run away with it, and then that makes it easier for the mainstream to ignore because they go, oh, that's some kooky shit, and it's like, yeah, that is, but that's just masking all the real shit, you know.
It's conspiracy, Jake. Understand it.
Yeah,
it's all
like,
QAnon,
People aren't doing
4chan.
Exactly, yeah.
Come on. I noticed you have
rings are like, it's crazy. They're wide all over the world, happening all the time. Like you read about it, and it's like, because it's someone rich, people are like, no, it's a conspiracy. Like, what? Fuck that, man.
You know, are you familiar with Art Bell at all, Jake?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a T-shirt with him on it.
Oh, really? I just discovered his show recently. Yeah. So I found that someone's been uploading old episodes onto Spotify, and that's my nighttime show because I've already gone through all the true crime stuff on YouTube, all the creepypasta stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
And now I'm on to Art Bell. And I was listening to Art Bell last night, and he had David Icke on talking about how there's an alien race that is secretly like within the Caucasian race and it's elites, and you take a look at England's hierarchy and royalty, and you'll see that it's all the same alien bloodline. I don't know what the fuck is
Queen's a
going on, bro.
lizard.
Yeah. I don't know. I was gonna say you might enjoy some Art Bell, but I don't know. He's got, you know, his patience for people's stories that are like clearly bullshit is amazing.
It's crazy.
Yes.
Right. 99.9% of every episode he ever did is total fucking bullshit. I enjoy it. For me, it's like reality TV kind of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, this is obviously bullshit, but it's funny, it's entertaining, and like 1% of like, what if?
Yeah.
I mean?
I love
a lot of it is
ghost to ghost shows specifically. Like I'll listen to like people phone in with ghost stories, and you'll get something that sounds like it's legit, because I mean, I believe that people have these experiences. I've had a paranormal experience before at the age of 10, so I'm open to it.
I believe that shit. I am as well.
But then you'll get a caller that's like, there was a giant man with a moose's head at the bottom of my bed, and there was fire coming out of his eyes, and Art Bell's like, wow, that's incredible. It's just like, how do you not fucking hang up on this guy?
Can you believe it, listeners?
Yeah.
There's an episode where he talks to this woman that apparently died, and she went to hell, and then she went to heaven, and she's here to talk about it, and she's just like, yeah, and there's like a dragon thing, and then there was a lot of flames, and he's like, wow. Like, how are you even not even questioning this? There's also another episode where he only talks to vampires. He's like, this line is just
yeah. Someone, so there was a vampire. A vampire phoned in and was like, yeah, you know, I can go out during the day. I just choose not to. And then someone called in and was like, oh, yeah, I know this guy. I hang out with his son sometimes. He's a vampire. Yeah. And it's just like, how the fuck old is this guy? It's just some 50-year-old man out in like Idaho who thinks he's a vampire. He has kids and he's dressing like a vampire. Ugh.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. But I love that shit, man. It's like a real fascinating like microcosm of like, you know, it's not dangerous. You know, it's human madness. It's silly, but it's not dangerous. I don't think. I mean, every fucking liberal, like I've actually said this a few times on shows where people are like, well, you can't, you know, you shouldn't say that because conspiracies are actually very dangerous. I'm like, not like most of them aren't. Like most of them aren't. Like, you know what I mean? Like this guy said he saw Loch Ness. Next stop Hitler. Like, no, it just doesn't work like that. But you know, I think Art Bell's great, and in that he's a funny fuck. It's just absurd, you know what I mean? But it's so fun, I think. But yeah, I was walking down the street and I see this market one time, and I just saw it from a mile off. I was like, "Is that an Art Bell t-shirt?" And I went there, and it was an Art Bell t-shirt, and the guy was like, "I was like, I gotta buy it," and the guy's like, "Yeah, man, you're on the right path too." And I was like, shit, like this guy, you know? And I looked and he had like alien bongs and shit.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, sure.
Well, it's also a very interesting time capsule because it was before cell phones, before the internet was an actual, you know, connecting the world thing. A lot of it is just him saying that by like 2012, global warming was going to kill Earth. And then if we don't change whatever by 2015, I was
literally listening to that episode last night with Michikaku. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's and every time someone calls from a cell phone, he gets upset because he's like, oh, those cell phones very unreliable. The signal is bad. So it's a very interesting time capsule of you know, time where people are still doing, what are they called, DVB radios or whatever, and they will communicate that way with those
ham radio.
Yeah. And he talks about like he's obsessed with all that stuff. Yeah. And who now is talking about stuff like that? You know, that show's still going, Coast to Coast AM with what is it, George Norrie, I think. Norrie. Yeah, but this one, yeah, it's not the same. And also it's really funny when he gets feisty too, because sometimes he gets upset. And he just talks about how he's upset with like Republicans doing this and Hillary Clinton this. So he's just an old man, a grumpy old man talking about aliens and demons, and it's great.
He really stood by his word though. Like he was really cool. Like because, you know, if you look at Alex Jones before Trump, he was, you know, through the whole Obama period, he was a libertarian. Fuck the government, they're dangerous. Trump comes in, he's like, I love the government, I love Trump. You know, like so many I remember because I've been looking into this shit since I was about 18, and like there were so many like libertarian militias in America. Trump came in, and they're like 100% love the government. It's like, yeah, you guys don't actually believe in anything. You're just a bit kooky, you know what I mean? And you're actually full of shit. Fucking Art Bell was like straight down the line. He would not have it, you know. He very much believed in what he believed in, and that was it. And he wasn't a bad guy. He actually like, you know, he wasn't. Everyone's all about this far right and racist and shit. Like with all these new people, Art Bell was like never that guy. Like he's actually. I found an episode where he's like really hammering home like there's someone that's trying to blame the Jews for something, and he's like, no, he's like, that's not what we do here. And I was like, yeah, that's cool, man. Like he really believed in something, you know. Even he had like principles, even though he believed that like a woman that went to hell can now call his show, you know? It's very unique. It's very, very unique. It's very sweet. I think it's quite sweet, you know.
I think you know, if you delve into the whole, my career is going to be talking about secret societies and what, you're eventually going to brush up against Hasidic territory. With him, it's just like supernatural, aliens, creatures, cryptids. The one time I've actually heard him lose his patience with a caller was someone called in. He was like, I was a Vietnam War veteran. Art Bell was also a Vietnam War veteran. So for whatever reason, he has like low tolerance for like either military dislike or something that doesn't register as like authentic or something. There was a guy who said he fought in Vietnam and was having dreams about his drill instructor making him wear a tutu and tights and spanking him. And Art Bell was like, no, that we don't have that kind of conversation on this show. I think you should keep your dreams to yourself. Next caller.
Yeah.
Coast to coast. He's wonderful. Also very interesting history with him and his many wives, and how consecutive those wives are, and how quickly he gets married after one marriage ends.
And how he started broadcasting from one of those countries for
the
some
Philippines,
time too.
His kids were like Filipino, I think.
Yes. Well, there's like 4 different kinds of Asian in his family, I think. I don't know.
I hope so badly that he wasn't actually up to bad shit. You know, if Art Bell gets cancelled, I will lose hope, man. I will lose hope.
I found his Twitter feed recently, and I was just going through old tweets, and it was like a lot of complaining at DirecTV for things not working, and it was pretty spread out. No, I don't know, but so that's been something I've enjoyed. Also, I was going to say this before. I noticed you have a Lahane poster on your wall now.
Oh yeah. Someone got me that for my birthday. Yeah, it's cool, man. I like Lahane. It's a good film.
Nice.
I watched that when I was it's a Japanese one. It's cool. I love Lahane because it's one of my aunts bought me the DVD. I was about 11 or 12 years old. And I remember like looking at this and I was like, what the like one of my aunts is like very arty, you know, like very kind of, you know, like in the art community, a lot of my family on my mom's side are very much like into that, you know, like art stuff and antiques and things like that. So she would always get me like stuff like that. And I was like, you know, a normal kid in the fucking middle. I was like, what the fuck is this bullshit? You know, like I want to watch Fast and Furious. I was like, fuck it, I'll watch it. I remember I was grounded and I was like, I can't go out. I just watch this, whatever. And I remember it blew my mind. It's the first time I ever realized, like, I don't know, it's the first time I realized that things can be really cool and artistic, I think. I know that sounds dumb, but anything I'd ever seen before that was like artistic was some lame fucking cans bullshit that was like, oh, isn't it amazing? Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, no, this is some gritty fucking Paris hood story. And it looks like, you know, that shot where he like pulls out and it's pulling in, or it's famous shot. I remember just seeing that and being like, I in a way, I think like seeing that really opened my mind to so much shit. I was like, okay, like, wow, like there's films that are actually cool. And then I remember like what, like, you know, got into that a little bit more. And then years later, I'd watch things and I just became a bit like, I'm such a snob with films, you know, like this the only thing in my life I'm a snob with, you know, like my friends will be watching like Fast and Furious 6. And I was like, oh no, well, it's no Lahane.
It ruined you. Yeah, you can't enjoy it now.
It really changed me, man. It really changed my perception. It made me realize, like, okay, there's fucking cool shit you can actually get hold of that isn't just for people that are up there on us. You know?
Yeah, I think it's
You
always
like it?
beneficial to have those sorts of aunts and uncles who will throw a grenade in there every so often that just kind of changes your perspective on things. I had an
Yeah.
uncle who gifted me some like videotapes when I was like 4 or 5 years old, and it just fucking put me on like a film path basically. So yeah, I mean, Hans, do you have a Lahane that kind of set you? Well, you don't have great
Yeah.
film taste, so maybe I
Rob
shouldn't be asking.
Schneider.
You're
Rob
the
Schneider's the
animal.
hot chick, but he turns into a woman by a wish. It's
Yeah, I feel
very
like I'm the
progressive
closest
dude.
thing to that aunt or uncle to you, Hans. Is
It's
making you
putting
watch
me through.
boring movies
Yeah.
you take 4 days to watch.
Yeah, making me watch a lot of why am I watching this
Yeah,
movies and
yeah,
then
yeah,
come here and shit on it while the guest is like, oh, what am I what is this show?
yeah. All right, I've got to have dinner here, so we'll close out the show on that note. I know it's pretty late on your end, Jake. Thank you for coming on and
Done.
talking about reffing and everything else. And yeah,
Having me.
what do you got coming out? Because I know you dropped a documentary about a month ago now. When are you gonna do something scripted? When are you gonna do something narrative and feature like?
That's my dream to do that, like a fiction, like you mean like a fictional film, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like rather
yeah.
than documentary. Yeah, yeah, that's my dream, man. I would love to, but I mean, I have like an A7S. I don't even know how to use it. You know, like I don't know anything about. I know like about good stories and that. Recently I've been like writing in my spare time. Like I've been trying to make Sundays the day where I don't do any work because I'm fucking killing myself. Like, you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
working like fuck. And I've been trying to make the Sundays where I don't do anything. And you know, the first couple times I did it, I was I play video games. You know, I'm a fucking nerd. I played it World of Warcraft and shit. But then I got even bored of that. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start what I used to do when I was like really young, like writing fiction ideas down and stuff like that. Fuck. So I've been doing stuff like that, and I have in my head, I was like, I want to make like a fucking video game or something like that. Not like, you know, you ever seen like point and click video games, like solve the mystery and shit like that? They're pretty
Sure.
cool. You can tell like really interesting stories through them and that. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, like I've been doing stuff like that, and I would love to one day make a film. Like I really hope I can somehow work my way into that as I get older. You know what I mean? Because documentaries are cool, but I don't know. I've done so much shit where I've thought, wow, that would make a good film, like a movie. You know what I mean? That
Hmm.
would make a good fiction film. Like it's things I've seen in real life, and it's like no one is ever gonna make that film because it's just so niche and whatever. But I know it will be good and blah blah blah. So I would love to do that, but yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not sure. I mean, I think you know I'm 33 now. Like I think I'm gonna this year I want to do a lot of different things. I want to get away from war, not away from it completely. Like obviously I'll always do it, but I want to do loads of different things because I don't get the same kick out of that war stuff no more. You know, I really I'm just it's I don't know. It's your luck can run out, you know, and it's like
Sure.
I don't want to die out here. Like I'm done with that. But not done with it. But I'm doing more safer stuff. But anyway, to answer your question, I'm trying to do a doc in Brazil. There's a really interesting thing where it's kind of being done, but I think we can do it in a way no one else has done. Like there's certain areas in the favelas where like 1 million people live there, and there's no police, there's no government. They don't even have running water in some places, but the gangs are like the government. And anytime you see someone cover it, it's like, isn't this bad that the gangs are here? And I kind of want to do like, is it bad? Like, you know, I mean, okay, gangs are violent, but it isn't every government violent. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I want to call it like I want to call it like gang government or some shit like that, and just look into like actually this gang is operating as the state, and that's actually really interesting. Outside of all the drugs and all of that, you know, like if someone robs someone's shop gets robbed, these people don't go to the police because there are no police. They go to the gangs, and the gangs say, "Okay, we'll deal with it," and they deal with it. You know, and a lot of people are quite happy with them. So I would love to do that. I think that would be an interesting thing to kind of look at. And I want to do something in like Asia, you know, because there's a lot of weird shit going on there, and no one's really
Yeah.
focusing on it. But we'll see, man. We'll see. We've got a lot of plans this year for like most of my plans are not through. I mean, Popular Front, we got all that shit already. We already know what we're doing. I want to go and do other stuff now. You know, like
Hmm.
really experimental type shit. Which I think you like. I did that with that last doc I put out. Like the edit is very different. It's like almost. You know, I realized that. You know that Russia doc where we met those partisans. I realized like this is basically just going to be an interview. that's fucking boring. You know, I mean, it's not. It's a very good interview. They're very interesting, but that on its own is boring. So we kind of built the scene, and I think I said to you, Jay, like, I really directed that. Before we even went there, I was like, I know how I want this to look, and it came out. It's the first time where it's come out exactly as I wanted it to look, and I was like, holy shit! Like I got a buzz from that. I was like, fuck it, and it's not fake. It's all real as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. It's like I was just like, right, make sure we're filming this bit, this bit, this bit, this bit. And yeah, man, it worked out perfect. And what I couldn't believe was these partisans came out of the fucking forest with a like neon red light. I was like, you couldn't ask for that.
I know,
I was like,
it
this
looks
looks fucking crazy.
yeah.
Bro. Yeah, it was really cool. Like, and I was like, why you got a red light? And he was interesting. He was telling us because the color diffuses very quickly. So, you know, they're sneaking around doing stuff. You can't see them like from a mile away. You just can't see them. Whereas if they had a normal light, you'll be able to see it.
Oh.
So. But yeah, man, loads of other shit I want to do. So yeah.
Well, everything you do is always quality and on point. So I'm looking forward to whatever comes out. And I know you've had some good ideas you've expressed to me about potentially like scripted stuff. So at some point, maybe down the road, I think that would be really cool too. All right, that has been Movies for this week. Thank you for listening.